All right, Mom, you did it. Okay, lesson 1 down. We're on lesson 2. And I wish I could have coffee with every single one of you to hear how it went. And we could brainstorm and think about where to go next. You know what? It's so hard walking with our daughters, especially in these teen years. And I get it. I have 2 daughters. And when you have the best laid plans out, you're like, this is going to be amazing. Your daughter then wakes up with some sort of a hormone issue that morning, giving you eye rolls and attitude and resistance. And so I get it. It just doesn't always go as we want. So for some of you, you're maybe a little discouraged, but stay in this with me because at the baseline of all of this, don't take anything she does personally, okay? She is in process, and so are we moms. We're all in process, and that's what I love so much about God's grace and the fact that he meets us right where we're at. So however last month went, whether it was like a 10 out of a 10 or you're just still skeptical about this process, trust God to do more than you could even imagine, okay? He's going to take your yes and your willingness to pursue your daughter's heart. He's going to multiply this in ways that I don't even understand. You don't even understand. But we can trust him to do something pretty powerful and amazing. At the baseline, really, your relationship with your daughter is a reflection of her relationship with God. No pressure. I don't mean it in such a profound way, but the reality is she's only going to know that God knows her and that he's trustworthy as she practices this in real life, being known and knowing you and trusting you and learning about trusting a few other safe people. And so in this month's lesson, we're going to talk about the fact that she can be known. And that she can do that in trusting God with all of who she is and trusting a few other people with all of who she is. You know this very well, moms. I mean, when we live enough life, we're hurt in relationships. But God designed it so that we are also healed in relationships. It's kind of the only way. And what happens over the time when we've been wounded, we start to guard ourselves, maybe to only show a part of who we are, right? We wear masks, we hide. Maybe we can only show up a certain way at church, and then we show up a certain way at Bible study, or we show up a certain way at school. And what we're teaching our daughters as they watch us show up in different ways is that we can't trust others with all of who we are. And so I'm challenging that in you, and I'm challenging that as a way to model to your daughter that we can show up with all of who we are, our mind, our body, our hearts, our souls, our good days and our bad days. And she's in process, so she's got a lot of bad days. And she needs you to be able to hold that with her. So in this month's lesson, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about who is trustworthy, what is trust, and when we aren't to trust somebody. As I've walked with other moms and women over the years, and teens and girls, I came up with this analogy that really helped me to articulate who is trustworthy. It's like a traffic light, okay? So when you think about green light, yellow light, red light, green light people are people who are trustworthy. God designed us for relationship, but not relationship with everyone. And so we have to discern who are green light people. And these green light people are people who are willing to own when they've hurt us. They are willing to hold our confidentiality. And when you think about the age of your daughter, think about those middle school or those early high school years, how hard it is to find green light people who will hold your confidence and not spread rumors about you, or who are going to be willing to own when they've hurt you and to do repair work. That's hard to find, but it is possible, and we want to help develop that with our daughters. And first starts with our relationship. Are you, Mom, a green light person for your daughter? Can you own the things that you've done when you've hurt her? And vice versa, inviting your daughter to do the same with those in her relationship. Yellow light people are kind of the finicky people, the ones that we want to be more cautious with. They're the ones that maybe one day, they own something. I'm sorry I hurt you, and then the next day they're flippantly doing it again. These are the hot and cold friends, or the people that maybe don't always do what they say they're going to do, but they're doing it more not out of trying to be a hurtful person, but just out of being unaware. And teaching our girls how to be discerning of who is a yellow light person is part of this journey. And so we're going to talk about that in this lesson, but this is a lifelong process for your daughter and for you. And so have patience as you guys talk about this more and more and discern who are yellow light people, who are green light people. And then there are red light people. The Bible calls them actually wolves in sheep clothing. And these are people who are out to harm us. And we are not in relationship with red light people. And sometimes in the Christian culture, we get confused about that because we're supposed to love everybody and show grace and have patience. But there are people along the way that again and again delight in harming us. And we need our girls to discern who those are. Those are more the abusive relationships, the unsafe relationships. And we want to teach our girls, what does that look like? Who are those people in their world? And how to actually set up boundaries. And that it is good for them to do that. And it actually is the most loving thing for us to do in those relationships. So Mom, this may seem really heavy as I'm sharing it with you, but I'm giving you the backside drop so that you're well prepared for this conversation with your daughter to be able to talk about the fact that out of everyone in our life, God is the most trustworthy. He's a green light. He's a gentleman. He always asks permission, and he never pushes his way in our life, and he loves us unconditionally. And so we're going to talk about the fact that we can trust him with all of who we are, and then how to build those trusting relationships in a community. And one of the things that we encourage is to develop, if you don't have a trusted community, is to make sure that you're thinking and praying about that and maybe talking to your daughter about who in your community, in your neighborhood, in your schools, in your church, that you can start to invest and to maybe go deeper and build trustworthy relationships. So, Mama, you got this. This is lesson 2. And honestly, at the end of the day, the fact that you took the time to sit down with your daughter to get to know a little bit more about her world, you are modeling how to be a trustworthy person. So you got this. We're praying for you. And I'm so grateful again that you're pursuing your daughter's heart.